Hello everyone and welcome to this video on this course of getting started with Angular. In this part of the video, I will be going over what is event binding, and I'll also be going over a basic difference between string interpolation and property binding. Now in the previous video, we did go over property binding and string interpolation in detail, but I do believe that there is a basic level difference which I believe you guys should know before going and coding stuff out. So if I were to go to my customer.component.html, I have my welcome to the title variable inside of two curly brackets, which is implying string interpolation. Now, if I wanted, I could actually have the title tag, and obviously we have it running like this. So welcome to the customer page, and the title over here is the customer page. So we have the welcome to the, which is basic text, and the title variable is being placed inside of this h1 tag using string interpolation. Now there is another way of how we can add this particular title variable inside of our h1 tag. And if I were to just and we can do that using property binding. So in the previous videos, I'd show you guys how you guys can bind to attributes such as hidden or disabled. There are a lot of attributes that can be binded to. So if I were to bind to like inner text, and I tell Angular that I want to bind to the title variable, I click on save, and as you guys can see, I'm now seeing the customer page, which is the variable value inside of my customer component.ts. So what I did just now is that I bind it to this inner text variable, and I gave it, like I told Angular that the value for this inner text attribute has to be the value of the title variable. Now if I were to do something like this, welcome to the title. So basically I just typed out a simple string and I have to save this would fail, and rightfully so, because when we talk about property binding, it's important that you guys understand that in property binding, this is an actual TypeScript code. This is an actual TypeScript code, because when we were working with disabled, we actually put exclamation marks before. So this is not some basic level string that you guys are entering. This is TypeScript code, and if a particular variable or some text that you've written out doesn't exist inside of your TypeScript file, this will fail. So that is one difference that you guys have to be aware of. Now the question may come up, like where to use string interpolation and property binding. So if I were to, wherever you guys have a lot of, basic level static HTML, but there are some placeholders which require dynamic values to be inserted, I would say go for string interpolation. And property binding is obviously used to manipulate or alter the attributes of HTML tags or HTML in general. So yeah, this was a very, very basic difference between property binding and string interpolation. So it's entirely up to you, but yeah. So the next thing which I want to go over is event binding. Now, I did mention in the previous videos that when we are trying to send data from the from the TypeScript file to the HTML file, we use something which is called property binding. Or string interpolation. But if we want to send data from the HTML file back to the TypeScript file, we use something called event binding. Now, I do have basic level HTML written over here. I have a button over here which does nothing right now. Basic level HTML text. How do I go about doing something with event binding? How do I make this button work? Basically what I want to do is, if I click on this button, something should happen, some variable should change through event binding. So the way I do that is, if I go to my customers.component.ts, I will define a variable which is new customer, give it a class string, and I will say no new customer added. And what I will do is, inside of my customers.component.html, beneath the button over here, I will say through my p tag string interpolation, and I will refer to this new customer button over here. So I'll say new customer. I click on save. So as you can see, I have this no new customer added. Now what I want to do is if someone were to click on this add customer button, this no new customer added should change. It should change to customer added, new customer added, or something like that. So the way to do this is that we have this button over here, right? So I can define through property binding an action, and it can be any action. It can be click, it can be input, it can be keystroke. More on that in the later videos. But for now, I want to bind to the click event of this particular element. This button element's click event, I want to bind to it. And what I do is I click on enter and I say add new customer. Something like this. And what I do is I pass a $event. Now this $event is nothing but the data which is going to be passed from the HTML to the TypeScript file. And the other thing is that this add new customer, it's basically a function. We haven't defined it yet, but we have to define it. So what I do is I take add new customer, I go to my TypeScript file, and I do event. So what to do is, okay, I can call it item event. Okay, yeah. So what I do is I refer to this dot new customer, and I can just say customer added successfully. Okay, so I think we have to give this a type. Yeah, we had to give that event a type. But for this particular example, we didn't, because we are not using the data being sent from the HTML. So event is an overkill. We could have gone without it, but yeah. So basically what I'm doing is, and I have to save all the files. So what I'm doing is I'm telling Angular that on the click of this button, this add new customer event should be called, and what this add new customer function should be called, and what this add new customer function doing is taking this new customer variable, and it's changing its value from no new customer added to customer added successfully. So let's see whether it works or not. We go to HTML visual file. So as you can see, customer added successfully. I'll refresh it again. No new customer added. I click on the button, customer added successfully. So this was a very basic level introduction to event binding. In the following videos, I will be going over other events which can be binded to, such as input, change. So there are a lot of events. It's just not click, but there are a lot of events which I'll be going over in the coming videos. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to give it a like, share it with your friends, family, colleagues, for that helps me out a lot. And until we meet in the next video, this is Mohit Lodhi signing off.